box, at first glance, we have the new Quest Pro and the Quest Pro controllers. The hand lanyards are already attached and they are made of a thin leather material, and the controller layouts are the same as the Quest 2. The biggest difference here though is that there is no tracking ring, so this makes the controllers really compact in your hands. They are heavier than the Quest 2 controllers, which weigh 153 grams with batteries, and the Pro controllers weigh 163 grams, so 10 grams more. But it just makes them feel higher quality and more expensive. You have 360-degree tracking with these controllers with 3 cameras, one on top and one either side. These have 3-point haptics, and the feedback feels like it has more depth with like a deeper rumble, if that makes sense. The front trigger can detect finger slide, and combine this with the thumb placement and you're meant to have a more precise grip as well. You can also remove the lanyards and replace them with stylus tips, so you can write or use them for graphics and art purposes. And these are included in the box, but they're really easy to miss. The headset itself feels premium, as you'd expect, because it's got a premium price tag. And the battery is now in the back, so you've got better weight distribution and it feels really balanced on your head. And I love the look of the front of this headset. It's got a real futuristic look with 3 cameras on the front and then an additional camera either side. You have a halo strap design, which is really substantial and has soft padding around your forehead and the rear of your head. Unlike the standard strap with the Quest 2, which was changeable, this is fixed in place. If you compare the weight difference between the Quest 2 with the Elite strap, that weighs about 644 grams, and the Quest Pro weighs approximately 770 grams. There are 2 dials, one at the front to adjust how tight the front padding and the lenses are to your face, and a dial at the back similar to the Elite strap, which adjusts the overall size of the headset. And there's no additional strap on top, but to be honest, you don't really need it. You have your on switch here on the arm and your volume control on the other arm with your USB-C socket on the side of the arm. The headset gets charged in the included charge cradle along with the controllers, and it took about 1 hour 50 minutes to charge from 0% to a full charge. And if you bring the controllers together like this, they magnetically join together, and this lines up the charging points, and then you can easily put it on the charging cradle. I managed to get almost 3 hours from a single charge, and that was with the brightness right up and included a few screen records. Some of that time was in the menu and the home environment, but mostly in the apps and the games. The cradle plugs in using the included USB-C cable and the plug, and there's also a separate charge cable you can use for the controllers to charge them on their own, and you can charge the headset directly as well. In the box you also have an instruction book, a lens cloth and a cover for the front of the headset to protect the cameras, and you also get these partial light blockers that magnetically connect to either side of the headset. And yes, you did hear me right, these are only partial light blockers, and these light blockers aren't like the firm interface that we're used to on the Quest 2. They're soft and squidgy with nothing in between, very similar to the PSVR interface. In terms of the lens adjustment and the IPD, it's not stepped like the Quest 2, and it's not over-engineered like the Pico 4. With the Quest Pro, you just slide them in and out, which is much better design. And when you first turn the headset on, you're guided through adjusting your front and your rear dials and also adjusting your IPD. And all this is done from a seated position. The really bizarre thing for me at first was that you're not fully immersed. You only have partial immersion because you've only got partial light blockers. So literally all under here, I can see everything underneath. And of course, the idea of seeing everything underneath here in the real world isn't the true definition of mixed reality. But I suppose from a business and working in VR perspective, this does work because you're half in VR and half in the real world. And it's not aimed at gaming, so that kind of makes sense. And after using this headset for the last few days with that partial immersion feel, it actually makes staying in VR a lot more comfortable for a lot longer periods. But these do take a lot of getting used to, especially if you're expecting a deeper immersion with this headset. What you do notice straight away is the clarity of the text in the apps and the games, and the game logos, as well as the menu, is so much sharper. Beyond what's in front of you though, I didn't really notice the great difference in sharpness, but for working at your desk space and interacting with people, what's straight in front of you is probably what really matters most. And once you've adjusted the headset, the focus sweet spot is much bigger than the Quest 2. The resolution of the lenses is lower than the Quest 2, but it's the pixel density that gives you that overall superior looking image. The great feature here, though, is that you're prompted to make adjustments when it's not on right, and you're guided as to which dial to adjust and by how much, and also how much to adjust your IPD as well. I found that I adjusted the headset too tight at first, which you really don't need to. Because you can't get that full immersion, you don't need to pull the interface really tight to your eyes. So you're better off just having it looser on your head, otherwise it will start to create too much pressure on the front of your head and it'll just get uncomfortable. When playing some games, that looser fit does give the headset a lot more movement on your head, but it does still feel pretty secure. But if you're going to use it in fitness games or any games where you're moving around a lot, I'd probably give it a few more tweaks on the back dial. When you first get into your headset, you draw your Guardian boundary and set your floor level, and then you choose your home experience between fully immersed, where you are in a virtual environment, or in a mixed reality where you can stay connected to your real environment, and this uses the pass-through cameras on the front of the headset. The clarity of the menus is crystal clear and much sharper than the Quest 2. The home environments were maybe marginally sharper, but not enough that would blow you away. The pass-through cameras are in full colour. Some of the colours are quite punchy and saturated, and the highlights are overexposed. But it does offer you a three-dimensional perspective, so it does feel quite natural and comfortable to look around. It is still really grainy, and there is a lot of reflection on the lenses, but it is a much better experience than the black and white pass-through on the Quest 2. You wouldn't want to stay in pass-through for very long, and you certainly couldn't use it to look at a message on your phone, for example. To see my phone clearly, I had to bring it right up to my face before it was in focus and properly exposed. If you have a Quest already, then you simply sign into the app and then search for your new headset, and once the Pro is connected, all your games appear in the apps menu. And then you just click on the ones you want to install. The menu layout is very familiar if you have a Quest 2 already, and you'll want to switch on the usual things such as pass-through and hand tracking. And the new features that are the most exciting thing about this headset are eye tracking and face tracking. And you can turn these on under movement tracking, and you have to calibrate them in here as well. And if you download Meta Horizon World, and this is where you can have fun and experiment with these new features and have a play with eye and face tracking, which is a really amazing feature. Developers like Vertical Robot have already taken advantage of the new eye tracking feature. Foveated rendering maximizes the resolution by optimizing the rendering in the area that you're looking at by tracking your eyes. And this can be seen here in the focus switching from the background to the foreground as my eyes move from one place to the other.